Oh, we are live. What up, though, people? My name is Eddie. This is Cam's. Together, we bring you Walk to the Octagon here on
Let's
Sarcasm
go.
City, bringing it back for the UFC fans who are part of this Sarcasm City family. Big up El Jefe Flawless. He in the cut somewhere, holding it down. But Cam's, how you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get to talk shop about
Oh,
one of my one of
trust
my
me.
favorite sports, man. One of my favorite sports. So I think it'd be good for people to kind of understand where our fandom came from of the UFC to start. So why don't you go ahead and kind of talk about what was the first fight you watched that caught your eye with UFC?
For me, the first fight I watched, it was UFC 100. It was that card with Brock Lesnar and,
Oh, okay.
Frank Mir. I remember that was the first fight I ever saw. It was a Frank Mir Brock Lesnar fight, and
Yeah,
I wasn't familiar with Brock Lesnar. Like I didn't even know he did like WWE before this.
yeah.
So when I watched him, and it was a GSP fight as well, I instantly fell in love with like GSP and how he fights, and Anderson as well.
Okay,
Like these are the guys I instantly like gravitated towards. Like just
okay.
insane. How about you?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you say Anderson Silva because that was one of the first ones. His flair. I think the first fight though that I saw was actually that I remember got me hooked was when John Jones got disqualified for the 12-6 elbows. And I
Oh,
think it
Matt
was
Camel. Is it?
yeah, I think it was one
Yeah,
of his
Matt
only
Hamill.
I
Yeah,
think it's his only loss in the
yeah,
UFC to this point. So I
yeah.
remember watching him fight and just like his athleticism, the way he moved, and the fact that like the fighting was so dynamic. You know, I've been a huge boxing fan all my life. Of course, my father was a big boxing fan, so he used to watch the fights. So that kind of graduated from the boxing to the UFC for me.
Yeah,
And so now to see what the sport is crazy. Like you never would have thought it'd be on ESPN of all places. When it, you
it's,
remember those, yeah, you never would have
it's
thought,
blew
but
up big time.
it's blew up. It's blew up. So definitely that would be my go to.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
Shout out Danzo. Shout out Danzo already.
Big
We'll
up, big
let
up.
the people thank you for all the likes, of course. Let the people continue to trickle in as we talk about the UFC and all its glory. So on the path of kind of breaking down our fandom, of course. Let's get into like who's your top five fighters? Do you have a top five? Is it the
Oh,
top three?
100%.
You got a top
100%.
five? Okay.
My top three, like, it tends to always change, but number one always stays the same. So,
Hmm.
fifth, I have got Amanda.
Oh, okay.
Amanda has to be in my top five. She has to be. Just from dominance
Okay.
alone, she has to be.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
fourth, he just comes in by default because he can't be over the top three. Has to be Khabib.
Oh, four.
Khabib
Okay.
at fourth. At third, this is going to shock a lot of people. I've got
Mm.
Anderson. I've got Anderson at
Okay.
third. At
Okay.
second, I've got John.
John
I've
Jones.
got John. It's just
Okay.
I can't have him over number one, mainly because of his legacy.
I know. I
Like,
think I know who you're going with here.
oh yeah, number one it has to be GSP. I love
Yeah.
GSP. I
Yeah.
love GSP, man. Just everything
Yeah.
about him. Like when I look at my GOAT, I don't tend to look at wins and losses. Like I don't care if you're
Mm.
undefeated because the two losses that GSP has came very early in his career, and he
Right.
avenged them like instantly.
Right.
He
And
instantly avenged them
violently too.
very
Violently.
violently,
Yeah.
very very.
Yeah.
Matt Hughes and Matt Serra just got wiped. They got wiped out.
Why-
They got wiped out afterwards. But yeah, GSP is my god. He has to be. The amount of title fights as well. Title defense
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about you? Anyways, who's your top five?
No, that's a great list. It's kind of just different parts. Just flip them around is my top five, similar to yours. So you have at number five, I'll go with the man at number five, right? And the way my brain works is like, who would I pick in a fight? Like in every single fight, who would I pick? Like that's who's the number one challenger, like who's the number two, all that stuff, pound for pound, right? And so Amanda would be number five purely because I've never seen someone dominate their division like she does with the brute strength. Like she hits like a truck,
For
and
real.
you visibly see these women fly after one hit.
Yeah,
And it's
it's a
one of
wrap.
it's a wrap. It's one of the wildest things I've ever seen. Just the way she came on the scene. Like you talk about the knockout of all knockouts.
You saw
Like
what she did to Chris Cyborg. Like
you
Chris
saw it,
Cyborg was feared, feared. You saw what she did to
man.
Ronda Rousey. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty at all. I think the Ronda one was the worst because you could just tell the levels of class
Oh,
in
different.
fighter. At least the cyborg, there was some, fight back. But with the Ronda, it was clear as day she wanted no parts.
Yep.
Absolutely no parts. And so yeah, she's my number five fighter. Number four, I think this is where, we start to differ. I have GSP number four,
I hear that.
right? And GSP number four is strictly because I think there's another guy I have at number three
Mm.
who we've always wanted a certain kind of matchup. And so it'll kind of,
Ah,
you'll see where my mind is going
yeah.
because GSP was, I think, the most principled athlete ever to come to the sport and show people the multitude of ways in which you can be champion.
Yes, yes.
You don't have to do it like this. You can do it his way. You can be modest. You can be technical. You don't have to be this kind of grind him out mauler. Like again,
Yeah,
his technique and his regimen and just his cerebral approach to fighting is second to none. He's definitely the smartest fighter I've ever seen.
100,
I think yeah, his brain power and his willpower are two of the top ever to hit the UFC. So it's purely because of the two losses. Like that's why I have him. I think that's at four, right? Or the three. That's a three.
You said four. It
Four.
is
Yeah,
fourth.
sorry, four. So he's fourth. It's just the two losses.
I hear that.
That's why. That's why. And so number three is Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Ooh,
And honest to God's truth, three and four for me can change at any time. Three and
yeah,
four for me can change at any time. The thing with Khabib was he's in the same vein of GSP where I appreciate the fact that he does everything his way.
yeah,
Everything his way. Um, I don't think there's a person on this planet other than Lord bless him, his father, who could change his mind on anything.
yeah.
And you think about the Connor fight, the magnitude of that fight, how he was able to keep his composure until the last second when the composure wasn't necessary.
Yep. It's different.
Amazing, just different. And then you see
Yeah,
him in the ring. I think it was the Justin Gaethje fight. He said he
crazy.
had a broken foot and his toes got caught in the cage. And when you go back and look at the tape, his toes are actually in the cage. I couldn't believe it that he didn't just tap out right there. I couldn't imagine having a broken foot and getting my toes caught. It just different,
To
different. And I have
interject in that fight, like one thing I loved after that fight, which just shows how like pure he is. He said he didn't want to break Gaethje's arm because his family was in the crowd. He said he would have
right.
like that's why he changed to the sleeper, and he thought I'm going to put him to sleep instead because if I break his arm in front of his parents, he's going to be in pain. Like he
Yep.
said, he'd rather put him to sleep so he can be with his parents afterwards and not be like hurt because of his arm. I love that. I
Different,
love that.
man. Different. We talk about cerebral fighters, man. It's just there's a class to them that they can't touch. And
Yeah,
honestly, you know what? Now that we've talked about it, I got to be consistent. I got to move Khabib and and GSP up their spots.
Mm.
So GSP will be number 3, Khabib will be number 2, and then at the 4th spot, I actually have to put John Jones.
I had a feeling that was coming.
I have to put John Jones. My first spot is pure nostalgia, so I'll leave myself. But other than that, number 4 has to be John Jones, strictly because he's a great fighter, the greatest lightweight of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so sad how much more he could have been
Yes,
if he just got his act together and focused on what was important.
100%.
He's not there for this. I can't put those two other guys up above him. I just can't do it. I feel so weird
He's
doing
had
that.
too many second chances, Jones. He's had way too
Too
many.
many second chances. If I could keep it ring related, even still, I still think technically, I think it's because maybe I've seen too much of John Jones.
Yeah.
That I can see the warts that he kind of has technically with regards to like striking and things of that nature. And
Yes.
then yeah, you have the wrestling background, but I don't think your wrestling is on the level of the Khabib. I can't
No.
I can't say
No.
that. And so he has to go 4, and then number 1, because it's just a fanboy in me, Anderson the Spider Silva.
I hear that.
I can't I can't like put into words the sensation I got when he hit Vitor Belfort with that front kick.
Wow. It's different. It's crazy.
I think the greatest striker of all time. The ending was unceremonious because he liked to talk shit, but you look at Weidman. I guess Weidman was a suitable champion. He held it down for a couple fights, but nothing to the likes of Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Um, I credit Anderson with really bringing that spectacle to the sport. Um, I
Yeah.
can't think of a fighter before him who made fights entertaining, just the fight itself. And then
Yeah.
again, he's the guy that really sparked my interest in the sport, so I gotta always put him as number 1. I
He's like the
know
Dino. He's like the Dino of MMA. That's how
exactly,
I like to
exactly. That's a
use the
great
analogy. The
comp. That's a
Dino.
great comp. That's a great comp. That's what he is. That's what he is. And so, yeah, that's my top 5. Um, for people in the chat, definitely put yourselves in the top 5. Let me go ahead
Yeah,
and
100%. I want to see
big
these
up
people
big up
top
some of the
5 is.
people who've commented. So we got Danzo, my guy from the Twitch, D Star, got you, MN always,
Big up, big up.
Catherine, thank you for pulling by. So let's look at what D Star is saying. I think Pete Anderson was one of the greatest, but I think he came back after the leg break and ruined his legacy a bit. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that?
See, I remember when he broke his leg because I remember watching it live. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he broke his leg, that was tough to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he was out for like a year and a bit, and he came back and fought Nick Diaz. I remember
Mm-hmm.
he fought Nick Diaz. He beat Nick, and then it went to a no contest because I think Anderson was. I think one of them was doping. I can't remember which one.
Okay. Yeah, I think I
And
remember
then
that too.
yeah, then he fought Michael Bisping. He got beat by Bisping. I remember
Mm-hmm.
on decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear what D-Star's saying. He did take a few L's after that, and it did kind of ruin his legacy. But for some
Yeah.
people, they will just look at his prime and just say, "Yeah, that was him." It's like a Dino thing.
Yeah.
Like people just look at Dino at Barcelona and think, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Dino." It's like same
Yeah.
with Anderson in his prime when he was defending the belt. Like that's how people look at him. So you could argue that he did, but for some people, it won't ruin his legacy one bit.
Right. Right. It's an interesting conversation because it's kind of the same thing with my thing with those guys being undefeated. Khabib, and not just so much Khabib, he left on his terms.
Yeah.
right? And I think he left in large part because a big part of his fighting was for his father. I'm not saying
100%.
he didn't fight for the love of the sport. I do think that's a part of it. But when your partner in crime is your father and you lose him the way abruptly as he did, because I'm sure they had big plans past, what he's doing with the Eagle FC and
Yeah.
everything he's doing in Russia. I know they planned for something else.
Mm.
Oh, D Star puts a very good question in the chat for the both of us.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You see, let me put it up for the people to see. Is there anyone on the current roster who could one day break into your top five? Usman or Israel, maybe.
Oof.
Those are the two. And you know what though? I would if Francis takes care of Cyril, which we'll be here to talk about as well later in the coming weeks.
Mm.
Um, I'd give Francis a shout too because he would, in my book, be the scariest dude ever to walk into the octagon by far.
I think he is for me, anyways.
He is
Like,
anyway.
I think they did
Okay.
a study, and I think his punch is similar to being hit with a sledgehammer, like
Oh my
full force
goodness.
sledgehammer.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
that
No,
is the
no, no, no.
force he exerts. Like, and plus, if he fights John and he beats John, like
Hmm.
like that will take him to a different stratosphere. Like as a
Hmm.
superstar and in the pound for pound rankings, like that will take him to a different level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the wild part is with Ngannou, he used to be a part of the gym that Cyril Gagne is currently with. Like
Wow,
they have a lot of history between the two. They've sparred and Cyril has got the best of him in sparring. Now it's just sparring and
mm,
Francis moved gyms. You know how that always can be a difference maker. So you never see. And
100%.
to your Usman or Israel point, just focusing on those two. Usman, he made a fan out of me in short order.
Yep,
Um, I think it was the Tyron Woodley fight. I was saying to myself, there's no way he's going to be able to sell himself if all he's going to do is hug and beat
hold.
people up.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
that because that was it. Now a part of that it was Tyron Woodley just I don't know not wanting to punch a person in a fight.
He's been like that for his last 4 or 5 fights, and I
Last
understand why they
four
released him.
fights.
He's
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
been terrible.
Because I think it stems back to the which Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fights.
Yes, 100%. Both them fights,
He
especially the first one, like there's hardly
terrible,
any shots. And I think if did he
terrible.
fight Damian Maia?
Same thing,
Same
same
thing,
thing.
exact same
Yeah,
thing. Horrible.
yeah, yeah. It's it's tough, man. So yeah, those I'd say those three are the three that could probably break into both of our top five. Is that fair to say, Cam?
I think Usman more than Israel because
Mm,
for me, Usman's already swept out his division. Like
right,
he's
right,
beat Colby
right, right,
twice,
right.
he's beat
Yeah.
Masvidal twice,
Yep.
and for me, he didn't really come into this conversation until he improved his striking.
Mm-hmm.
Like once his striking got on par with how good his wrestling was, that's when I was like, oh, he's dangerous. Like when
Mm-hmm.
he knocked out Masvidal, I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's a problem. This like he's a problem.
Yeah.
It's
No,
crazy.
that's a really good shout because it's like I think which if I had to pick, I would say out of all of his recent fights, the first Covington fight was I think the first time you saw him evolve as a striker.
Yep, because there was no
Um,
takedowns. Because they both
mm,
knew we're both elite wrestlers. We don't need to wrestle. This is just bad blood.
yeah,
We just want to punch each other in the
yeah.
face. Whoever drops first, that's who loses. That's how it was with them two.
It's wild. It's wild because it's. I'm thinking like you said, you had, and I think Colby might have been a higher tier wrestler when they were younger,
Yeah.
Usman's development as a fighter has been great to just see fight after fight because he's one. You know what's always great to see with fighters is the ones who every fight you can see them just get better.
Yeah.
You just see them pick something up and go crazy. And I think that's the thing that makes Israel so entertaining and so interesting is you're seeing not only are you seeing the antics, but you're seeing the development of him as a professional fighter.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I think for me though with him, it's a bit he's a bit beholden to his division.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's hard for me to give you top five when your competition isn't like the competition in other divisions. If I'm just being truthful,
Yeah.
I think only one comparable with regards to I think a lack of competition in the division is the light heavyweight division because I think that well I do think there is a one guy and we'll speak on them when they come up, but I think there's one guy who can change the game in that entire division.
Mm.
But we'll stick to this topic right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and MN, you're absolutely right. This is when he took this
Oh,
is
Trevor
exactly
Whitman,
when
because what he
go.
did for Justin Gaethje as well,
Mm-hmm.
insane. Like how
Mm-hmm.
he's coached Justin Gaethje made him a different animal. Like you saw in
Mm-hmm.
that the Tony fight, like he was just trying to take Tony's head off. He said, "Yo, just relax a little bit. Take 30% off your punches. Just hit him at 70." And then he was just connecting every time, and they eventually had to stop the fight. Like that for me, that coaching's
Man,
ridiculous coach, and yeah, insane.
he's really the top coach at this point. And that's the good thing about the UFC as well. You can see the implementation that coaches the effect that coaches have on their fighters, and
Mm,
you can tell really clearly who doesn't necessarily have that connection because you hear them talk in the ring. I mean, and on the stool, and then when they go back into the ring, if they implement the game plan or if they stick to what they know,
yeah.
it is what it is. But you don't come across a guy like Mike Perry who just says, "I'm gonna do it myself." You don't come across them too often. So coaching is
This guy had his
definitely
girl in the corner. That's his corner man.
oh man. Oh my gosh.
That was
But I think
insane.
what's crazy is I think he's making a lot of money on Triller fight cards now.
Yeah, I've seen that. He's been boxing now.
Shout out Taha.
Yeah,
Always a
big up
dope,
man.
dope man in the chat, my guy. Appreciate the love, homie. And so we've spoken on who our goats are, who our top five is, was the first fight we watched, all that stuff. Now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes. We're gonna
Oof.
get into the real deal Holyfield fight. You got 269 Poirier, excuse me, versus Oliveira. Um, and Cam, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. Tell me your initial thoughts on the fight, what you thought when you heard it was gonna be going down, and what you're expecting.
See, for me, I think the lightweight division's the best. Like the competition in the
Mm,
lightweight is so stacked. Like it's ridiculous. They could legit
mm,
do a tournament for like a title, like a title eliminator tournament. They could do that easily.
mm.
Like I wasn't too familiar on Oliveira. I didn't think he was this level. I think he was
Yeah,
one of them fighters where it took him a while and then he's finally hit that level. Do you like a Masvidal? Everyone knew
yeah,
Masvidal was good, but he hit that certain level where it just clicked in like
yeah,
2019. It just clicked for him. I think
yeah,
Oliveira's at that moment now where he's been in the UFC for over a decade, and it's just clicked for him. Like he beat Tony. He was on a big fight win streak, and when he got matched up
hmm,
against Michael Chandler, I was like, yo, he's gonna beat Chandler. He's in that zone right now. He's going to beat Michael Chandler. And when he beat him,
yeah,
I was so happy. And I thought he has to fight Poirier next because him and like Poirier's just beat McGregor twice in a row.
hmm,
Might I add? Like
hmm,
I thought they have to fight next. And then like I'm so excited for this fight. I think Oliviera wins this fight though. I'm gonna say he wins by
mm,
submission. And then
mm.
hopefully he fights Gaethje next. I need to see that Gaethje Oliviera fight. I need to
Oh
see that.
man. So we could have a real deal new king of the lightweight, not any interim king, just straight up, straight down king of the lightweight
Yep.
division as Charles Oliveira. Okay, I think for me, I when I heard this fight was going, I think I wanted in the beginning I had wanted Gaethje and Poirier to fight just the
Yeah.
original, real deal thing. But then when everything played out the way it did, and I saw Charles Oliveira fight, and this is a guy who's been knocking him down all the way to get to this point.
Yeah.
He's in the same vein of a Poirier where the respect wasn't given; it had to be earned.
Mhm.
Um, because when you lose in the UFC, people write you off,
Hundred
and
percent.
the
Hundred
only
percent.
the only way to get back to title contention is to get on the winning streak. You get on
Yes.
the winning streak, you start calling people out, you start calling out, or you get matched with the right people, and next thing you know, you're fighting for a title. So it is possible. So I think seeing, oh, okay, and then brings up a good point.
Hey, that's a very. This is what I say. I'm saying about the
We
lightweight.
we will talk about him soon. We will talk about him on this episode soon because, brother, that's a different one. That's a different situation. But yeah, sticking to this fight, I think Poirier's striking, um, and not so much his ability to put them down, but I think his ability to keep them honest and in control
Mhm.
is what's really going to take this fight in any direction. If
Yes.
Poirier can dominate the striking, keep him at an arm's length away. And he has to be active. He can't be with Charles. You cannot sit anywhere close to the cage.
No.
Just
Never.
don't do it. You see, he got into a throwing match with I think it was it Chandler he fought
Yes, it
last?
was Chandler, and they both
Yeah,
dropped each other. They both
they
dropped
dropped
each
each
other.
other. They
Yeah.
dropped each other. And
Can't do that
Chandler,
with Poirier. You
you
cannot do that.
cannot do that with Poirier. Chandler is a wild swinger. He's
Mhm.
a wild puncher. He's not technical. Meanwhile, Poirier is a bit more technical.
Yep.
So my thing for Poirier is maintain the pressure. Because I've also seen when Poirier fought Dan Hooker.
Oh, that fight
Dan
was insane.
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 But Dan Hooker could get Poirier on the mat. He
Yep.
could. He could. And so I think for me, I'll go Oliveira by submission
Mm.
because I do think that Oliveira is battle tested enough and has seen so many kinds of strikers. He won't be shocked by what Poirier is throwing at him.
Yeah.
But I think the discrepancy in the mat is where realistically Oliveira is going to get the fight and where he's going to finish the fight. So I would say submission by, I'd say by the fourth,
I was thinking the third, but yeah, the
third.
fourth sounds likely as well.
Yeah, because I think he gotta establish himself with his hands.
Mm. Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, then Poirier won't have any reason to respect what he has coming. And so you can do, how they do with the little slips. You fake the jab, ooh that you
Yep.
just slip down low. You can get the wrap around the waist. You hope that Poirier, has prepared as much as he can for that. But at sometimes, it's just not enough. It's just the
Yeah.
technical ability doesn't match up. So that's how I see the fight. That's how I see the fight.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
And so, do you think that if it was to be a knockout, do you think Poirier's only way to victory is knockout, or do you think he can go the full 5 rounds
Oh,
and
I could definitely see it going a full 5 rounds.
mm,
I could, because it's so. I think it's so. It's razor. It's like it's on the edge. Like I'm on the fence still. Like I'm only just saying Oliviera. Like it's really close. It's a very close
hmm
fight because they're both
hmm
in their element right now. Like they're both well in
hmm
their prime. they're so confident in like their ability, so it's going to be hard. But yeah, I think it can go the
Mm,
distance.
okay, okay. And so I think I have more faith in it not going the distance.
Mm,
I think if it does go the distance, though, I have a lot more faith in Poirier.
yeah,
Um, because I think again, Poirier, his striking and his ground defense is anything where it needs to be, I think that'll eliminate a lot of what Oliveira is offering. But I think Oliveira again, when you get to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grapplers,
different level.
different
Like
level,
yeah,
different breed. Just they don't stop. They're trained to not stop until you tap. So even if he attempts at a submission, he'll look for another one.
yep.
And I think in every fight, Oliveira has put somebody in dangerous waters when it comes to the ground game, if I'm not mistaken. I think he actually has the UFC record for the most submissions as well.
I think so. I remember the fight with Tony. He had Tony in armbar. He had it fully extended, and
Oh
this
my
guy would not
God.
tap.
Would
That
not
was
tap.
that was awful to watch. Like this guy's arm was fully
Yeah.
bending, and he would not tap. Like,
Shout out to Tony Ferguson, one of the greatest lightweights never to win a real title belt, but
oh,
you were a
that
champion for a lot
oh,
of reasons.
literally, he's the people's champ.
So let's go some of these comments. Brush in the cut. He was talking about Masvidal. We're speaking on Masvidal and his ascension. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. No, Masvidal is a self-made icon. He really got it out the mud, did what he had to do to survive, and he turned that into a UFC um, career that's been very fruitful for him when you look at his
love that.
pocketbook. So you
He's
always
matured.
love
He
that.
matured a lot. He matured a
Yeah,
lot.
definitely that too. Definitely matured a lot. Let's see what D Star saying. I got to go with Poirier. He stepped up a lot since 2017. I think his record is 8-1 since then, even though he had a couple of easy wins beating McGregor. Oh man, those.
No, his resume, Poirier's resume is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there was the fight with Eddie. I think Eddie Alvarez. The first one was a no contest
Mhm.
because of a knee, like
Mhm.
illegal knee. The second one, KO. Beat the first ever guy to beat Gaethje. I think
Mhm.
KO. Like, and then he fought Max. Like, but at this point, like I thought Max would have beat him. I thought, right, this is Max's
Yeah.
time to step up. And when he was putting it on Max,
He
like
was pointed on
Max
Max.
did not have the power to hurt him. Like he had the
Nah,
power to hurt
man.
Max. It wasn't even close. Was
Night
not
and
even
day.
close.
Night
Literally.
and day. Night and day. And so now we have another one saying I would go Poirier. He has momentum with back-to-back wins over McGregor. Also, Oliveira was hurt by Chandler, but it's 50-50. I,
Mm,
I hear you. I think going back to this comment right here, when you have 8 wins and your one loss is to quite possibly the greatest ever to be in your division, you're not talking any slouch. So I'm
no.
with you. I think while we might both have picked Oliveira, Poirier picking Poirier isn't out of the realm of possibilities in the slightest. Like
Yeah.
that could definitely be his fight on his night. This is just little bit of speculation. A little bit of
Yeah.
speculation. So ain't nothing too slight. But to this, I want to come back to this question. I want to come back to this statement. These guys just holding the belt warm for my boy Islam. We getting the strap soon. I don't know if you saw Islam's last fight.
Oh,
He was
against Dan
definitely
Hooker.
against Dan Hooker.
Yo, different. These Dagestani guys are just there's something in the water in
Man,
Dagestan. There's something in the water. They're just different breeds.
man,
I don't understand.
different. Different. It's one of these situations where you look at him as a fighter and you see that he's picked up everywhere that a guy like Khabib couldn't go to, even to a Zabit,
Yeah,
right?
he's a beat
He's
as well.
he's
Yes.
he's watching all these guys in the gym and you can tell he's a sponge, and he might be the youngest. I think he definitely is the youngest out
Let
of
me check
those
that.
three. Yeah, I want to say he's the youngest out of those three because he definitely
It's
has
30.
he's 30. Okay. So yeah, he's seasoned. He's he's no slouch, and yeah, to your point, MN, if Oliveira wins in Islam or even Poirier, because I know Poirier is, he might not be my cup of tea, but he's a dog. Like he'll
Oh
do
yeah.
his thing.
Oh
So
yes.
anyway, it'll be a war. It'll be a war no matter which way you slice it, and the lightweight division will be in good hands. Period. Like
Hey,
just what it is. So
we've still got that guy that's just waiting. Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is a different animal from when Dustin fought him. He's
yeah.
different now.
Oh yeah. Because the Whitman school. So you got to
Oh,
call it down. The
he's
Whitman
took that
school.
chaos. He's took that chaos and he's controlled it. He's put it in a bottle
Man,
instead of just letting that chaos go everywhere. He's controlled that chaos.
and I know Dana's just seeing the checks, Fight of the night, fight of the night. You feel me?
Oh
So
yes. Oh yes.
definitely. I didn't put him up, but shout out to El Jefe, my guy, our guy, Mr. Flawless, Mr. Take Note, El Presidente of Sarcasm City. We always appreciate it. And yes, MN, Islam is fighting Darius, and I think the winner of that becomes the alternate for the winner of whoever Gaethje fights for the belt after this win. I think that's what it's gonna be like. And then I think again they're just kicking the can down the road. Speaking of lightweight, because we're on the lightweight topic, what do you think about Darius? What do you think about him as a fighter?
I like him. I remember I watched his last fight against Tony. Like I
Mm-hmm.
expected Tony to win that, but the way his wrestling, he just kept Tony like controlled him the
Mm-hmm.
entire fight.
Mm,
Albeit I think it was 3 rounds, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's not easy feat controlling Tony Ferguson. He just held him for 3 rounds, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that against Islam. But I guess we'll
Mm-hmm.
see.
Yeah, you can tell he's heavy on the grappling. That
Yeah.
you can tell is his bread and butter. I think he has a couple knockouts. He has like a spinning back fist, so he has some striking, but Islam doesn't strike because he doesn't have to. But if you want him
Yep.
to, it's bad news. It's
Yep.
bad news.
He can lay hands.
He can lay
100%.
hands, and it's always with all of them. It's the power. It's always the power. I think with the beat, it's more the technique with him because he's just a
Oh,
magician.
do you remember his leg lock submission? Do you remember that?
I
Crazy.
almost, I almost, I almost had to turn the TV off 'cause I thought it was gone instantly. That's how beautiful it was,
Oh,
bro.
beautiful.
I thought it was finna go completely because I was like, "There's no way." But yeah, the lightweight division is on fire. Definitely,
Fire.
one of the top divisions of UFC, and just can't wait for what they have in store.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead, man. They were talking about Tony versus Islam, but guys, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Tony
I'm
don't.
not trying to see that
No,
anymore.
no. You know which fight I think does make sense though, because both these
Shoot.
guys consider themselves warriors. I think it's the perfect time for Tony versus Connor.
Oh, do you know what? I've wanted to see that fight for so long, but
For
now
so
I
long,
just
right?
want to see Masvidal versus Conor. That is what I want to see. I've been wanting to see that fight for nearly 3 years now. I want to see that fight,
Yeah,
Jorge versus Conor, because the press conference would be lit. The
crazy.
build up,
Oh my
it'd be one of the
gosh.
biggest UFC fights ever, easily.
Oh my gosh. And I would say, you know what though? BMF,
Oh,
BMF. I'm just
hey,
saying, Dana, hit
why
us
not,
up.
man?
You see us getting you ideas. You got a BMF title. You got to put it up sometime soon. BMFs don't just win one fight.
Oh,
Come on, G.
definitely not.
Come on, bro.
They
So
have to
yeah,
fight at some point. They
they
have
got to
to.
fight. They got to fight. Whether that's Connor putting on, because Connor got to put on some weight, or maybe they fight at a catch weight. I don't know what, but
Mm.
they got to make that fight hype happen. It would be dope if it was like it's definitely a Vegas fight. That's a Vegas fight for
Oh,
sure.
100,
That's a Vegas
100%.
fight. And I think he speaks for everybody when we say, I think we all know this. I just think we want to see the fight.
Yeah, I think he breaks Connor as well. I think he slaps Connor.
Oh my gosh, the trash talk though, like you said, would just be immaculate. It would just be something special.
We're seeing a knockout in that fight. We are seeing
Oh
a
yeah.
knockout. I
Somebody
don't
they
care
standing. Yeah, they standing. They
by hook
standing.
or
And
by crook. There will be a knockout in that fight.
man, they're saying here apparently Nate has one fight left on his contract. Hey, they need to break the tie. They do need to break the tie. I think though that McGregor knows that it was too close to call. I
Yep,
think that's if I'm McGregor, I think he's like, bro, I don't need to go through that again.
yep.
Cause that second fight, I I say if I remember it correct, like yeah, I had the first three rounds went to Connor,
Mm.
but then the last two, when Nate started slapping him, that's when I knew he found his space. He
This
found
is
his
when Nate
confidence.
turns it on in them last two rounds.
Them
This is when
last
Nate gets
two
active.
rounds,
He
man.
gets
Them
active.
last two rounds. So I'm cool. I think they should. I think they should. I think they definitely should. Right to the comments real quick. We'll get back to UFC 269. Talk about Miss Nunez and Miss Pena putting it on display. I think Connor's finishing and being anyone decent. He just there now for pay per view guys. I hear it. I hear that. I hear that. I think that.
Do you know what Connor's problem is? Do you
Mm,
know when you're at the top of the game and you take so much time off, your competition
hmm.
is getting better. You
Yeah.
saw he beat Dustin Poirier all them years ago. Dustin Poirier got better.
Yeah.
Like we've seen the evolution of Dustin Poirier. All these guys, they've just got better to the point where Connor's not that guy anymore. Everyone's just better. That's all it is. Like if he was still working and grinding, like and trying to be the best, which he obviously isn't because you've made all that money. Why would you want to be? It's just I think it's just natural. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to be the best. Like these guys are just going to surpass you at some point.
Right. Right. No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And I think Danzo answers why Connor hasn't been fighting the way he's been fighting since that. You make $100 million, you don't have the same hunger you did trying to make your name.
Mhm.
More
100%.
importantly, when he was talking the way he was talking, you realize he was talking about everybody in the division being bummed, everybody doing this, everybody doing that. The target he placed on his back when he became the two division champ, um, when he knocked out arguably the greatest, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, Jose Aldo, at the
Mhm.
time when he knocked him out. So for some people who weren't aware of what the UFC was when Jose Aldo was doing his thing, Jose Aldo was the boogeyman,
Yep. Undefeated for 10 years.
undefeated for 10 years. No one in their right mind picked Conor Mayweather. I mean Conor. He's moving like a Mayweather now. I get him kind of confused, but Conor McGregor as a guy who's gonna knock out Jose Aldo in the first 30 seconds. Nobody had that.
That
And
changed
all
the
that
UFC forever.
changed the
Forever.
UFC forever. And he became public enemy number one for every fighter. They said, I want that scout.
Yeah.
I want that. I need that. So, Connor's been fighting his own demons, getting in a bit of trouble,
Mm.
unnecessary trouble. You just see how it took a toll on him in his last couple fights because I thought he was out there on proper 12 the way he was fighting the last fight, you know?
Yep.
So what he will put out there this time around, we don't know. We just have to wait and see. But yeah, two Nunez versus Pena back to the UFC 269 card. Let's just go with your thoughts. What are your immediate thoughts about the fight? And more importantly, I think here's the question: is there any way that she loses this fight?
No. I'm gonna put it short and simple. No. Like I I don't think there's a girl that can beat her. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I saw her fight Valentina, I thought
Mm-hmm.
Valentina's the only girl that could beat her. She's the only one with that skill set to beat Amanda
Yeah.
Nunes. And when
Yep.
she couldn't beat her, I'm just like, yeah, no one's beating her because no one is that talent. And this is not even a knock to any of the other like females like on the roster, but there's just no one with that talent or like the power or like the physical like presence to just beat her. There's no one there. She's got
Mm-hmm.
everything in her locker. She's got the
Mm-hmm.
size. She's got the power. Like she can hit like a. I'm pretty sure she could knock out most like bantamweights.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
very confident she could like knock out most bantamweights. But
Yeah.
I think she's too much. She's too much of a handful for anyone. Like she's just
Yeah.
way too much. Like it's too easy for her.
Man, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just can't see how she loses this fight. I can't see how any like she is literally when you put people in the technical aspect, like for their division, she
Mm,
is one of the most technically gifted fighters in her division, and
yes,
she's one of the most athletically gifted fighters in her
hundred
division.
percent.
And so you got somebody like that hitting as hard as she does, not playing any games with the competition. She gives all of her competition the ultimate respect. She doesn't make I'll put this one up for cams. There you go. There you go. You get that.
Literally, like if you're going to bet money on any fight, it's Amanda Nunes winning. That is the only fight you
Yeah.
ever put money on because she will
Yeah.
not lose. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. She's literally the greatest woman fighter of all time. Like
Yeah,
make an argument for the greatest fighter. Period. It gets I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. It gets kind of hard for me because like I said, like I imagine them fighting each other when I make these types of calculations
yeah.
about who's the greatest and things like that. So, but she'll hold her own, no question.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think for Pena, I think her just getting here is somewhat of a championship in itself, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yes,
Um,
100%.
she's a great fighter, but she's somewhat new to this, and
Hmm.
Amanda is not new to this, and she's just on a different level mentally,
She's on
physically.
a
So
warpath. She's
she's
on
on
a
a
warpath.
warpath. She's on a warpath. She wants every win until she's tired of it.
Hmm.
Until she says I'm done, I don't see her losing because I don't think the competition is there to really check her. I didn't think Megan. I thought Megan Anderson had the what's the word I'm looking for here? Had the was on paper Megan Anderson her
The star
last
power.
fight, the star power, who
Mm,
you thought could really get it done. Like you gave her because she had the knockouts, she had the submissions. You thought, okay, she could maybe handle her own.
yeah,
And then you saw the fight, and my goodness, my like she really demolished that woman. So now you go to Juliana Pena, who okay, through a lot of her own self promotion, got herself to this point. Um, like the UFC had picked other fights for a man. I don't even think this was Amanda's fight. If this is the first fight, right?
no, I don't think it is. I don't
I
think so.
think I think I think I think I think Amanda was slated to fight somebody else,
I'm not surprised. Like
and
this, I'd drop out too if that's the case.
yeah, I'm gonna look it up real.
There's not many people for her to fight left.
Nah, yeah, yeah,
Like you
yeah.
could do a trilogy with Valentina, like maybe.
Oh, see, but now I guess yesterday, Amanda came out and said that she's gonna take care of the clown.
Oh,
So then there's that. Um, it could get peak. It could get peak. And so
Yeah.
I think the only person who they're going to have to. She was saying Nunes ducked her all this time.
Oh, D-Star, trust me. That D-Star comment,
Uh,
that's what they're gonna have to start doing with Nunes.
oh, we're real close. We're real close.
Her
We're
versus
real
Henry
close.
Cejudo, sell it. Sell me it now. Sell me that.
I don't talk about that kid. I don't talk about Henry Cejudo unless I have to. I can't deal with
He's
it.
a corny guy. He's a very corny guy.
He's a corny guy, and I just think that you never beat Joseph Benavidez.
Mm,
You never beat him.
that's
What's that
true.
all about, man? What's that? And you calling yourself the greatest? What I call the guy who beat you.
Triple C.
You know
Joseph Benavidez. The thing with
that.
him is, like, I think it was at that moment where it clicked for him. Like, he had that
Mm,
confidence, and
mm-hmm.
he was able to like build a brand for himself. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
generally had people thinking he was the GOAT. Like, they were putting him in top
Man.
fives. But when he beat Demetrius, that was just
Yeah.
like beating Demetrius is like someone beating John Jones. That is how big that was. I don't think people
Right.
understand how big that was. And obviously,
Right.
his resume just got even bigger. He beat Dillashaw, uh, but allegedly Dillashaw was on he was on performance
Oh,
EPOs, whatever they're called.
you don't gotta say allegedly because he got suspended.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
got
he did. Yeah, he
suspended,
did. He did.
so
He did. Yeah,
ain't allegedly.
he beat Cruz. Like Dominic Cruz is no slouch.
I see. Yeah, like you said, a lot of people in the chat with you. Like, yeah, be careful what you wish for. I see no one beat Nunes. She can beat some of the guys too. That's the level of
Trust me.
confidence we have in her as a fighter. So I definitely think it'll be a cakewalk. Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
I think if she
That's what
makes it past round one, Dana needs to have instantly be on the phone to people making a special belt
yeah,
getting
yeah.
past round one, because that's an achievement in itself, getting past round one with Amanda Nunes, because she will put
Especially,
it on you from the jump. She will
mm,
put it on you. If there's bad blood, she's going to try knock you out immediately.
mm-hmm,
Immediately.
mm-hmm. The cyborg fight was the perfect example. Like they didn't
Oh,
like each other, and she tried to
stiff.
take her head
She was out
off top.
stiff.
Mm,
It was
mm-mm.
scary.
Yeah, it's her power is second to none, and again, like we say, we call her the goat for women for a reason.
Mm.
She's that special when it comes to this shit. So looking at the rest of the card, are there any fights that stand out to you? I think there's let me make
Yeah,
sure. Let me make sure. Let me get the list up. But yeah, go ahead and which other fights have caught your eye?
I'm not too familiar with his opponent, but Cody Garbrandt making his debut in the flyweight division. That's going to be
Mm,
interesting. That is going to be interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, yeah. No, so Kai Kara France, I know of him. He trains with Izzy. So he's
Oh,
part
is
of
it?
that fight camp. Yeah. He's gonna be some competition for Cody, because
Jeez.
the one thing you always think about is how does the power transfer?
Mm,
Always, because he's going up in class. How is this power gonna transfer? So he's the I think I can't get the odds right. I won't even try to, but he's a minus 135 to Carl Francis plus 115.
oh wow.
So he's actually the favorite.
Mm,
Um, so again, it's a close call. It really is. I am excited though because I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. With Garbrandt, what you see is what you're gonna get, and I think what we know, he fast hands,
yep.
right? Fast hands,
Fast hands, fast feet, knockout
fast
power.
feet, knockout power. And so I think when we've been talking about guys and their development as fighters and what they've started at in comparison to what they've become, he is another one where it leaves a lot to be desired because I do think that he has a lot of elements that he hasn't improved yet. and
Yeah.
so it's
I
unfortunate.
think
Oh,
to interject with that, I think he got the belt way too early, Cody.
yeah,
I think he got the belt when he was
absolutely.
25. He
Wow.
was 10-0 when he got the belt. He beat Cruz. Like, might add, he beat Cruz in amazing fashion. He was dancing.
Hmm.
He was
Yeah,
dancing with him.
yeah.
But I think he
I
got it too
remember
early.
that.
And then when he came up against the TJ Dillashaw just swept him,
Swept the
swept
floor
to the
with
side.
him.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's he won the war of words, but he lost the battle, the actual battle.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yep.
what was wild. And to D Star's point, yeah. So Masvidal had to pull out. He had a rib cartilage injury. His
Gutted
coach
as well.
just said
That fight.
gutted because they have to figure out Leon Edwards and that guy and what he has going on. Do you just give him the title fight? Do you not? I don't know. What I will say is that fight would have been bananas.
Like the bad blood between them two.
Bananas. Oh my
Like what
god.
happened in London. Oh, yo. That's where the free piece and a soda
Three
debuted.
piece of
That's
the
where it all
soda.
came from.
Will there be a watch along for this? I'm thinking we're leaning towards absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking once we get everything situated with the streams and that, I think we'll definitely be a watch along this week. Flawless, we'll put it out there in the universe and yellow here from him first, but I don't see why they would. I think we actually will be able to get into a watch along. Um, now, one more thing I think we wanted to speak on with regards to this one is going to be like out of these guys, and for me, oh, not to I am excited to see one fighter though. I am excited to see Sean O'Malley.
Yes, Sean O'Malley.
Because
I've kind of fell out of him a little bit after when he
mm,
lost to Cheeto,
hmm
and he was
hmm
still saying, "Oh, I'm still undefeated." Like, just take the L, bro. I know it's hard to
yeah,
take the L. You
yeah,
think like you're this good, which I understand, but you lost. Like, you have to hold that. You have to hold that.
you got to, you got to, and that's my thing with him is at some point in time he's gonna have to actually live in the real world.
Yes, 100%.
He's gonna have to actually latch on to the fact that there was a guy who didn't get, dare I say, as distracted as I did, came in the ring and whooped my ass.
Mhm.
You thought you
Definitely.
could do whatever in that fight against Cheeto. Now, Cheeto is just a tougher, more focused fighter. He's not a better fighter than Sean,
No, no,
but
no chance.
he wasn't phased by him. So I think
What? I can't exactly
seeing
remember.
how
Did he kick him in like a nerve in his leg, and he just
yeah
shot
he
off his leg?
kicked. It was a shin kick. It was a shin kick, and you know
Yeah,
how I guess they said there was a nerve down there, and then it forced his foot to go in a different kind of way, and he ended up breaking his foot
yeah. His foot just went to
along those
sleep.
lines.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and he just got punches to the face after that. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see what his rebound is like, and I think if he has a crazy showing, I think he'll benefit the most out of all the fighters because of his profile outside the ring.
Hmm.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying Cheeto's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I think technically Sean is better than him, but technical doesn't always equal to dubs.
Nope.
So
Doesn't.
yeah, I definitely, and man, what Cheeto did to Edgar was damn near criminal. Whooped his ass, but I don't think he matches up well with a Sean O'Malley because I think Sean O'Malley is the type to do the whole bull in the china shop thing when he's on his
Yep.
game, right? Bring you in, wave around a little bit, you open yourself up, one clean punch. All right, and that's what I think can
Hmm.
happen.
He's
So
very big as
who do
well
you
for that division. He's very,
for that
very tall
division?
for that division.
Exactly.
He's a big
Exactly.
guy.
So who do you think will benefit the most from this
The entire card.
this card, the entire card? Yeah.
I, f- I think you've got a shout with Sean O'Malley, but at the same time, I think it has to be Poirier because Poirier's
Mm.
never won a belt. He's always been the nearly guy. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
was very unlucky that he had to fight Khabib, like one of the greatest of all time. He was very,
Mm-hmm.
very unlucky. But this time,
Mm-hmm.
he has a chance to win the belt, and if he wins the belt, like, he goes down as an all-timer, in my opinion. Not
Yeah.
in the top 5, but he
Yeah.
has to be an all-time if he
He
wins the
has
belt
to.
because the
Yeah.
resume and all of that, like, he has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Resume and
yeah, I think it's
longevity.
Dustin, 100% longevity.
Resume and longevity, because he's been doing this. He's been doing this as long as Connor, and he hasn't flashed out like Connor
Mhm.
has.
Nope, he hasn't.
Um. So yeah, we're at about an hour. We've talked through a whole bunch. Let's just talk about what you guys can expect from us going forward. So we'll have a recap show on Sunday of the card, just going through what we saw, what what Dana says, because I always enjoy Dana's little press conferences. Those
Post-match,
things are
yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, the post match, those things are hilarious. So it will definitely be back on Sunday. Be around for the watch long. Just stay follow at Sarcasm City on IG. Um, there, or I'm sorry, is it yeah, Sarcasm City on IG, or that's me flawless. He definitely will have the posts up all the time, and so I'll put it in the chat myself. Right, that's the IG, Instagram. You guys can go there, and everything we have at Sarcasm City will be posted there. So all the notifications, if you're at Chelsea, Liverpool, United, Arsenal, even although they're ass, we have shows for all those teams. We got shows about basketball, music, everything. So look that up on Instagram. That'll give you all the information you need to know about upcoming streams. And also subscribe to the channel if you can become a
Mhm.
member. I started out as a member. Flawless saw me in the chat going crazy one time, and he's like, "Bro, do you want to hop on? You're hilarious." And the rest was history. So I'm actually on the
Love
United
that,
watch
love that.
alongs, the basketball watch alongs, and now I'm privileged enough to be bringing y'all with the homie. We are privileged enough to be bringing y'all
Hey, let's go.
back. Walk to the Octagon. It's been hella dope. To finish out though, I think we can speak on one guy who I think he is going to be giving people nightmares for year to come.
Oh,
My what a, I'm telling you
oh,
this right now. This will finish out with this guy, and then
oh.
I cannot tell you how much I fuck with this guy so heavy. Like it's ridiculous. But we'll leave this. What are your thoughts on Peter Yan, and what are your thoughts more importantly on the whole bantamweight division and kind of the craziness you see going on over there?
I think the bantamweight division is in a very, very good place right now. I'm not gonna
Mm,
lie. But Piotr Jan,
mm,
I think he's a different animal in that division. He was so
mm.
unlucky in his last fight. We all know what happened.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
with Aljamain, we all know what happened. Like the knee, like Aljamain deserves an Oscar for that. Like this, they're not gonna have a rematch anytime soon, which sucks. They're not gonna have a rematch. But
Yeah,
Piotr, like bar that, like the things he's done to people in that division, like what I saw him do to Aldo, he had Aldo in the fetal position, just raining down
yep,
hell on him. What he did to
yep.
Uriah Faber, that was the first fight I ever saw of him. Uriah Faber,
Uriah
just
Faber.
oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
disgusting, disgusting. Corey Sandhagen as
Man,
well, no
oh
slouch.
my
Like he
God.
is no slouch. Like
Yeah,
beaten by decision, but
yeah.
they have to fight. They have to fight again, him and
They
Aljamain,
have
and
to.
they
They
have to.
have to. I think he honestly is one of the most intimidating fighters I've ever seen.
He's stone
Like
cold. He's stone
he's
cold.
stone cold, and this is how you know who can really hurt people is when they hit, although you block it, do you still move?
Mhm.
right? Like people put their hands up to block his punches, but those joints hurt. Those
Oh yeah.
punches hurt. Cleanest handwork, I swear to God, in the division. Cleanest
Boxing's ridiculous.
combinations. Boxing is ridiculous. The only thing keeping him from being champion is a guy dipping his head a little bit, but we'll leave that alone. We'll leave that alone. But now we don't want to speak too much on it, but because we definitely have more in store. Definitely, I think if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you got a couple. The Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's a bantamweight, so I'm
But I
just
don't
saying
think
that
he wants to fight any top guys yet. He has at some point he will fight a top guy, but at the
he'll
moment he's
have
like
to.
working his way up.
He'll have to. But let's see here. We got a couple. Yeah, I didn't even we didn't even speak about Dominic Cruz going up against Pedro Munoz. That's
Mhm.
another one that can be crazy.
Yeah, trust me, that's on the preliminary card as
The
well.
prelims, yep. This
Yo,
Josh Emmett versus Dan Ige is another one that's crazy. And
I
you got
remember Danny Ige against
Augusto,
Cater. That was a very good
bro.
fight, and I
Fighters,
love
fighters
Cater as
fight,
well.
bro.
I love
Yeah,
Cater.
yeah, fighters fight, bro. That's a fighters fight. And then you have the heavyweights, Augusto Sakai versus Tai Tuivasa, just big, heavy-handed
Oh,
motherfuckers just going to
Tuivasa, like
beat each other up.
he's the guy that drinks like the beer out of the sneakers
Out the
afterwards.
shoe,
Yo,
out the
that's
shoe. Yep.
disgusting, but I dig it. It's disgusting, but it's cool. I like it.
You dig? You gotta do what you can to get yourself right, I guess.
Yep.
I'm with you, bro. I'm not a fan myself, but whatever works for him. And so yeah, we got a couple fights coming up, people. This weekend we'll be doing the watch along for the main card. Not every fight, but just the main card. I think that's what we have
Mhm.
lined up. Cam, anything you want to finish up? Where can the people find you? Things of that nature.
Yeah. If you want to follow my Instagram, oh, sorry, not my Instagram, my Twitter, you can follow me at cam_731. I just go there and follow that. But yeah, just like, follow, subscribe, do all of that. Obviously, go follow the Twitch. Like, but yeah, that's it for me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I don't know if you can see my name, people, but I'll leave it on. So yeah, you can find me at Steady Much. That's Steady, the word Steady, Much. I follow back if you follow me. It's that simple. You can find me on this YouTube when we're the Manchester United watch alongs from our Man U fans. We have watch alongs for every game if you're a first time watcher. Also, it depends on who Liverpool is playing. You might have a Liverpool watch along, Arsenal, definitely Champions League watch along. So it's a real deal sports community that El Jefe is built out here. This show will primarily be coming when there are the more important cards. We won't be a weekly thing. I actually have to go on vacation, so Cans might have to hold it down by himself if he wants to speak on how
Hey,
the UFC is working. He's definitely dope enough to do it. And so yeah, we'll definitely be. We're here to stay though, so this is not a one-time thing.
100%.
Tell your UFC people that in the chat, that rock with the sport to come through. We're always going to be engaged with the chat. Thank you to everybody in the chat who put a
Yeah,
comment
big up
down.
everyone that's watched.
Everybody that's watched, everybody that's liked, and I'll leave y'all with this: like and subscribe, people. And if you can become a member, it's all worth it here at Sarcasm City. So we appreciate y'all, and then we'll see y'all Sunday. We'll be back. Oh, actually, excuse me. We'll see y'all Saturday and Sunday. Saturday for the watch along, Sunday for the recap. Okay? Y'all stay up, stay blessed, and we'll see you
Big
soon.
up.